All right, well, welcome back, chat. We're about to run the Golden Treasure, the Great Green. What a fitting name for the marathon for the second to last run. I'm joined by Hybrid, and I believe I heard this is one of the developers of the game joining us on Couch.
Indeed. This was my baby.
All right, well, you two take it away.
All right, thank you very much. This is Hybrid here, and yes, I will be speedrunning Golden Treasure the Great Green. If you have not heard of this game before, that is quite all right. This went way under the radar, very underappreciated hidden gem, but I am bringing it to you today, and I hope will be very entertaining for you. We have a very special guest on my couch. Would you like to introduce yourself once more, please?
Well, my name is Ludwig, and I am the executive director of Green Door Studios and the writer, director, and producer of this modest composition.
And I am very happy, very pleased to have you here today. I just want to say I love this game an enormous amount. I am so happy to be bringing it here to the stream today to speedrun this. I've worked really hard on this and hope it'll be super entertaining. Real quick, this is a unique blend of RPG, adventure, and interactive fiction, which means we will have stats, we will have combat, we will have item collection, and we will have me scrolling through all the enormous amount of text that Ludwig has written as quickly as I possibly can. So, sorry about that in advance. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get this started. The time will start when I click on New Life here. So we are starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So in this game, you play as a dragon from inside of its egg all the way to young adulthood. The setting is a science fantasy version of Bronze Age Earth in the Germany and Belgium area. So we are starting off inside of our egg here, being given telepathic communication by our birther creator or mother about what it means to be a dragon, or as they are called in this world, Drakkin, or Drak for short. So if I ever say Drak, that means dragon. Speedrun-wise, one of the things I would like to do as often as possible is click the topmost text option, because it does load in first and is clickable first by a few frames. You will see me click other options for various reasons. You may have seen I clicked the third option a couple of times because there are actually animations attached to the topmost option, which would slow me down even more than waiting for the third option. So we're about to hatch here and start seeing that this game is illustrated by a series of wonderful paintings and animations and all sorts of parallax effects.
Indeed, the parallax effect at first was such as would require medication to withstand. Thankfully, we got to a decent level, I hope.
I think it turned out really great. So here we see our first glimpse of our dragon character as we find ourselves in this cave. And you can go towards the water or towards the light. In a casual play, you want to go towards the water because you see your reflection. It's a wonderful scene. But we are going straight towards the light, and the first thing we are going to do is jump off this cliff. Whee! Well, that didn't work too well, but it did give us our first tarot card or achievement. We need to collect 20 of these in order to unlock the secret ending, which is the run we are doing. So our main goal is to do the tarot cards, and we come down to this jerkbird who says, haha, you can't fly. And I say, dude, I'm 5 minutes old, give me a break. And we notice something strange over here. We notice that our dear birther creator, who taught us so much while we were still in the egg, has been slain by these very strange creatures. Obviously we need to attack. We seem to have taken an arrow in the chest, but no problem. Let's just keep fighting, and we're dead. Ludwig, why are we dead?
Well, you made the questionable decision to take on a species which possesses technology which you don't understand, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, luckily we get some extra lives, so here we are back where dear birther creator has been slain by these very strange creatures. We have taken another arrow in the chest, and, well, we're dead again. Gee, I mean, we're only a couple of minutes into the speedrun, and already we've lost 2 of our lives.
The first life was for the card, but what was the second one for?
No, we got the Fool Tarot card for jumping off the cliff. That didn't kill us.
Right. But
Yeah.
the first time you died, I assume that was for the death card.
Oh no, you don't get the death card until you die 3 times, which we just did now.
Aha.
Yeah. You see, we've been pranking you. This was all on purpose to get another tarot card for dying. Actually, although it's a little bit inconvenient to have to go out of your way to die, one benefit to this, dying right here, is that it's an instant death. Normally, most of your deaths will just be in combat, taking on something that is a little too tough for you. But right here, it's instant. It only sends you a little ways back each time, and then we get to redo our stats to just the way that we want them. So we get to restart at hatching out the egg, which is just about a minute back. We're going to max out our earth and fire, and put the rest into water.
My apologies, by the way, for the issue you just mentioned.
That's quite all right.
We anticipated that far more people would appreciate getting the card after they died for the first time than would equal the number of people who would be forced to commit suicide to obtain it.
Well, you didn't expect that people would be speedrunning this. So.
Yes, that's exactly right. And by the way, let me say that this is definitely an honor. You've been a true ally this entire time, and thank you for having me on this channel.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's an honor to have you here. So we've restarted and we're back at the cliff, and we climb down the cliff, and we run into this jerk bird again, who just says, haha, you climbed down a cliff. I say, dude, I just cannot win with you, can I? But we get it to divulge a secret that inside the mouth of our Bertha creator is a special treasure. So here's what we're going to do this time. We are going to sneak forward, and then look closely, and we find a crystal fang. And as that's popping up, I'm just going to keep clicking down here, because that is okay. So now we have actually gotten out safely this time with the crystal fang. So next, it starts to rain. We're a little bummed out. It's like our first day of life, and already one of our parents is dead. But you're not much of an RPG protagonist if you're not an orphan, so we have that covered.
I, again, apologize for the cliche, but I would like to point out that I feel as though this game has fewer cliches than...
I agree, and it's all right. So it told us, this is a little tutorial section, it told us about our stats, and we go outside, we look at the stars, and sing a song to fire, because that gives us 5 fire points whenever I talk about the elementals, fire, water, earth, and air, or gaining points, or gaining levels, gaining mastery. That's all your RPG-style stats that makes you better at combat, and various other things throughout the game. We are asked if we want to do the combat tutorial. We say no, otherwise it takes 5 minutes. That would put us way overestimate.
It is crazy that you have gotten so good at this, that there are images of you doing this on the internet.
Just a little bit of practice. We come here and we meet the Dragon Paragon of Wisdom, Darktooth, who tells us a little bit more about what it means to be a dragon, as well as giving us our first major quest of the game, which is to go to the northeast corner of the map, the Spirit Wood, the sort of heart and soul of the forest, and go claim it as our territory. But we are allowed to explore the immediate area. This game's now opened up. It's an open world RPG. And one of the first things we're concerned with is regaining some energy. You might notice when this little panel opens up here, you see a sort of yellow chain or double helix. That represents our energy. Normally you regain energy by going to hunting grounds, where you chase down animals and fight them, and it's a lot of great fun. But we want to get energy from events, such as this event, where there are some children playing, having a good time. Happy children. And we ambush one of them and eat them alive and steal his necklace. Because dragon. Just in case it wasn't clear up to this point, you are playing as a dragon in this game, and you are not only able to do things like that, you are expected to. So
I do have a small donation if I have time.
Yes, go ahead.
Bagel Addict comes in with $100 that says, so hyped to see Hybrid run Golden Treasure live. An absolute darling of a game. Good luck, Hybrid.
Thank you.
That went towards Save the Animals in Super Metroid, which, by the way, that poll is still going, that bid war. We're at 443.73 for Save the Animals and 229 for Save the Frames. If anyone's a fan of speedrunning and wants to do a game fast, you better make up some money here.
All right, so what we've just done is we've collected a special item called the Shake Stick, as well as a number of shiny stones. They are shiny things, which are your currency for dragons. They don't really do anything useful, but they're sort of cold hard cash. And next we're going to go over to Darktooth and get him to identify and buy the Shake Stick from us. So we say, would you like to trade? And he says, trade. Dude, you're 5 days old. You really think you have something to trade with me? We say, yes, the Shake Stick you just identified. So it gives us 100 shiny things for that, which is a pretty enormous amount of money for this state of the game. We're just really a few days in, and already we have far more money than it really expects you to have. And we ask him about his ordinary conversation topics, because those give us some free stats, one more interesting object, the Crystal Fang, as we were using that later, and then we leave. So, Ludwig, it's actually a lot more profitable in terms of money per day to just like straight up sell the Shake Stick, even though you can use it for mining some precious stone in various places. What do you think about that?
I was honestly surprised when you stole it. I was thinking to myself, the most utility, bearing item in the game almost. And if you look at,
yeah, we just get rid of it. I don't want it. Okay, next event we go to is this old badger who is probably not far from death of old age, but he does not want that. He wants to die in glorious battle, and there's nothing more glorious than battle with a dragon. So we're going to grant his wish, and then totally cheese him, because we know what moves he's going to do.
Right.
So we use Flowing Strike, Fire Flash, and then Flowing Strike again. And I'll explain the combat in just a second, but what's happening here is, if you've ever seen the movie Dragonheart, you know that valiant souls always go to live in the stars. So that badger is chilling out in the stars now, and he gives us the Bloodstone and this achievement, as well as a neat little poem about badgers. You're probably supposed to be a little bit stronger to fight that guy, but if you just
I believe I've never seen that movie.
You haven't seen Dragonheart. What?
No.
You really should. You're probably supposed to be a little bit stronger to beat the badger, but Flowing Strike, Fire Flash, Flowing Strike will do it every time. Alright, the next morning we go out to see a deer that has died under mysterious circumstances, and we're going to eat it because dragon. Even though that's a bad idea because it did die of disease, so by eating a diseased deer, we're going to get a little bit of a stomachache in a while.
But the amount of energy that it gives does make that action wise for speedrun.
Yes, for sure. Alright, next we are going to go to this labyrinth over here.
I want to move these.
I said I was going to explain the combat. The combat is a simultaneous turn-based, based on the 4 classical elements, and this right here is Never Ever, the rat. He is the envoy of the mighty Drak Elder, many times burned. We're going to see him once more in the future. It's a simultaneous turn-based. You and your opponent select an element and they clash against each other. And it does follow the standard rock, paper, scissors, fire beats air beats water, water beats fire. Since I know what moves the badger opens up with, I can counter him perfectly, is sort of what goes on there. There are random encounters down here, such as this rat with a grenade, but we just use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. What do you think about Power Strike being overpowered?
It's possible. The playtesters felt that it was satisfyingly powerful, so I took that at its word.
Okay, you're gonna see just how satisfyingly powerful it is then. Alright, this is not a very long maze, but we are trying to make it to the end where there are some fire salamanders who have an item that we want. But first we have to make it past these horrible maim death kill blades. But it turns out they do not spin if you move really, really slowly. So we move really, really slowly. And meet these fire salamanders who say, hey, a dragon, can you enkindle us? And we say, sure, no problem, I know exactly what enkindling is. And they realize we really don't know what enkindling is. So they decide to fight us instead. So, 1 second, serious time. This is very dangerous. Okay. The salamanders, like most animals, have a specific pattern of moves that they use, but they can start on one of six different attacks within their pattern. And this is essentially a boss fight here that we are way underpowered for. So I have a little chart, a little cheat sheet of which moves they can start on and which moves I have to respond with or else I'm dead. So we have caught ill from that deer that we ate. We have a little bit of a bellyache, but that is okay. We are going to completely ignore that and go over to the Spirit Wood, because we are done here in part 1. So we come over to the Spirit Wood, and there is a rival Drac who would also like to claim the Spirit Wood. Its name is Twist. By the way, the dragons in this game prefer to use it pronouns, so I will be attempting to refer to them as such. Twist confronts us, and it says it wants the Spirit Wood, and challenges us to a riddle contest. So the answers to its riddles are fire, water, earth, and air, which are only told to you time and time again, so it is pretty bad at coming up with riddles.
And people still complain at how difficult it is.
Really? Okay, well, we commune with the forest and feel that it likes us and accepts us, and we claim it as our territory, and then we go to sleep for approximately 30 years, give or take. All pretty normal things. I'm sure we've all done that at least once or twice. I wanted to ask, is Twist, like, intentionally coming up with bad riddles, though? Like, is he just not very smart?
Twist is indeed not extremely intelligent. It's an imperfect creation, as we all are, but its imperfections do lie in line.
I gotcha. Alright, well, we are now an adolescent dragon, and still ill, by the way. We still have a bellyache from that deer that we ate about 30 years ago.
Wow, I didn't know that was possible. That is a bug.
I forgot to mention this, I am running the old version before Time of Creation. I did test it in Time Creation, it's still there, though.
Okay.
Okay, so we come over to Darktooth and ask him about his normal conversation topics for some stats, as well as he wants us to take the great... Oh, I just made a mistake. Hopefully that's not too bad. I did a misclick. Okay, I think this is okay. I got distracted. This should be alright. I think I can recover from this. Okay, we come to this bird who asks if we are wise and if we know the great truth. And we say, no, we are not very smart. And he says, correct. So we are down here in this cave, and we need to view the 7 cave paintings that represent the history of Dragonkind. They are in a jumbled order, so I will talk about them in a moment when we have to put them into the correct order.
There's quite an amount of hidden history behind this, by the way. That's only the most basic of Drac histories.
For sure. Well, we have a little bit of downtime here. Do we have any donations or anything?
No new donations since Bagel Addict's huge donation. Thank you again, Bagel, for that huge donation. That was 100 pounds of trash that you just removed from the ocean. That puts us at $1,784.73. We are so close to, if you hadn't heard yet, if we get to $2,000, that means that the next time we do this marathon, which is on Earth Day, April 22nd is the first day. The day after that, on April 23rd, if we get to $2,000, I'll be on the beach, live on Twitch, from sun up to sundown, cleaning trash off the beach.
All right. So we come to these cave salamanders who would like for us to recite the history of Dragonkind in the correct order. So it goes a little something like this. In the beginning, there was Earth and Sun, and they created dragons, and dragons ruled over everything. And then space aliens came and started destroying everything. And dragons fought the space aliens. And space aliens won, and space aliens put down humanoids of different sizes, and then the dragons came back out, and that's where we're at today. I'm pretty sure that's how it's meant to go. Did I get it pretty close?
Perfect.
Oh, good. All right, so next we are doing the 4 schools of philosophy that are run by these different fish. This is the school of knowledge, where they are very obsessed with math problems. So they're going to ask me to math during a speed run, and it will be very serious time here. So 1 second here. Okay.
I gave the design of that labyrinth directly to the programmers. I did not design it. I like to give the programmers a chance to have a direct hand in the game. I've worked in game companies before, and the people who are on the ground don't always get the amount of creative freedom that they deserve, and that they would really love to have. So I tried to put that in there when I could.
Okay, that wasn't too bad. I managed to complete that in a fairly decent amount of time, so no worries. Alright, I misclicked earlier, so I'm gonna go a little bit off the rails here. I think we should be okay. I'm concerned about we're very nearly starved to death. Alright, that is okay. We're going to hit up the School of Faith first here, where they are willing to give us some food for free. So we're going to ask them 2 questions first, and then ask for food. They are willing to give us as much food as we want. We're going to ask for food 3 times because we are just such a glutton. So, second food, we are at full energy, but I want some more. Please give me more. And they give us some more. Actually, the point of that is to lower our reputation just slightly. We want our reputation to be a little bit on the low side, so that wastes a couple of seconds to ask for more food, but it saves us about like 10 or 15 seconds much later. Alright, so now we are good on energy. We completed the School of Faith. There are random encounters down here, however they are math encounters that you can give any answer to, it does not matter.
What? How can it not matter?
It doesn't hurt you. It zaps you, but it doesn't actually do any damage.
Really? That's not in my design.
Oh.
That would be a bug.
Alright, well this octopus believes that sand is the solution to all of life's problems. So we ask for his blessing, and he says, sure, no problem, just bring me a bunch of sand, I'll be happy to give my blessing. And we don't really want to cart around a bunch of sand, so we just say, how about this? Give me your blessing or I'll kill you. And he says, okay, you can have my blessing. So is that problem solved? Because dragon. Alright, the next school of philosophy is the School of Nihilism, where this fish believes that he is a video game character and that nothing just matters, which is not too far from the truth. So we ask for his blessing and then just have a moment of silence. And that is the School of Nihilism.
During this moment of silence, if we have 2 seconds, do you mind resharing your screen to Ludwig?
Yes, just one moment. Hold on. Okay, I think that should be working.
It is not, but that's fine when you have another downtime moment.
Alright, well, now that we've seen all 4 schools of philosophy, we meet this manta ray who wants to know if we would like to follow any one of these singular philosophies for the rest of our life. And of course we don't want to do that. We just have to say no and then give a justification. We want to give the top justification twice and then the second justification twice. As it gives us the stats that we need. We are razor thin on the required stats. It was pretty much to the exact point. And we meet Darktooth again, who is looking very relaxed. He's very happy that we completed his great lesson. And we say, that's nice, goodbye. And he gives us the Silver Rod, which is completely useless to us, as well as this achievement, the Hierophant. Hierophant is actually the name of the next game being planned by Dreaming Door Studios. They really like that word, and that is okay.
True.
Okay, this is like really bad, actually. We got a little bit off track here. We didn't get the Bat Friends. I might want to, like, restart from the save. Just real quick. From backup save. Because this went a little bit off the rails.
You're gonna go back before the labyrinth?
I'm not sure. Let me see what I've got.
awes me to think that you take this game so seriously in that one respect. It's amazing, and it's an
Okay.
honor.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to restart from backup save a little bit later. All right. All right. So next we use the Crystal Fang, and that gives us 8 to each stat. Yeah, I just had a misclick and couldn't quite recover from that. So my apologies. This run is a little bit invalid, but we'll still try to do the best that we can.
It's all good. You're giving us a good show. Keep it up.
All right, thank you. All right, the next thing we do, now that we have used the Crystal Fang and we are recovered from our illness and have completed the Great Lesson, is we are going to first go down to our Drac neighbor to the south. Its name is Tempest, and it has a Bezoar stone that we would like to collect. So we come to the territorial border and shout out a greeting, and Tempest comes over and says hi. We challenge Tempest to a riddle contest, and the answer is Dawn. And Tempest says, "What? How could you get that right? That riddle is impossible." And for getting the riddle correct, we get the Bezoar stone, which we will need much later. We're going to uncover a little bit more fog, just a little bit of downtime here.
Traditional kind of black. He's, or it's, I'd say, has definitely heard it to be feminine. Quite the traditionalist.
But at least that means it's willing to give us a nice prize for getting the riddle correct. I mean, as far as we know, it's just like this lump of rock, but it's my lump of rock now. Alright, one more bit of fog, and then we will do something interesting here. Okay, next we are going to go meet the spirit of the Great Green, the sort of the nature spirit that watches over this entire forest. The spirit of the Green has laid out a number of tests for us based on our elemental masteries. So our first test is to follow the white rabbit, as you do. There it is. Follow. And then our next test is that there is an animal that we would like to eat, but we need to have the mental fortitude to ignore it and proceed onward. And then there is this large stone that we throw aside with our great strength. And there's this jackalope who asks us a riddle. Is not a riddle that I select or type in. It is simply an air stat check. So we have passed all of the tests and now meet the spirit of the green. It says hi. We are best friends now.
We are cosmic friends forever, okay?
And more importantly, we get this tarot card. The High Priestess. That is important because the next thing we are going to do requires some help from the Spirit of the Green. If we didn't do that in advance, we would probably get ourselves killed. So the one we are going to visit next is this fire icon up here, which represents a true dream or a premonition of the future. So we have this dream of a fiery dragon that battles a deer in the sky. We vow to hold on to the dream and seek out its meaning. This represents a forest fire that will occur in the future unless we are able to take steps to prevent it. Well, the cause of this forest fire ultimately is this saber-toothed tiger spirit who has possessed this guy, and he is over here. He is killing deer. He is killing other things. He is just sort of angry in general and does not know how to deal with his feelings.
It's a strong feeling when your entire species is completely annihilated.
I can imagine. Well, we go commune with the Spirit of the Green and perform what is essentially a dragon exorcism and use some fire because dragon, and then eat the guy because dragon, and that is the problem solved. Well, almost. See, it turns out only deer can prevent forest fires, so the deer come back, but they don't know if they like me or not. So I have to beg them on my hands and knees, or the dragon equivalent, to return and protect the spirit wood from forest fires. And they say, fine, whatever. So we'll now prevent the forest fire and get the Empress Tarot card. We also got a free meal out of that, so our energy is back in pretty decent shape. This rat steals our shiny things, and it wants us to hunt some snakes. We agreed to hunt some snakes. We're not going to hunt any snakes. That takes way too long. So it's going to be waiting for us to fulfill our promise for quite some time.
There's no way he's gonna hunt the snakes.
We don't have time to hunt snakes.
It's a sad world where people don't have time to hunt poisons.
Alright, the next thing we're going to do is start making friends with the wolves. There's a wolf icon over here, so this icon represents a guardian standing in front of a wolf den. So we challenge the guardian to honorable combat. And we use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered.
Don't you have knights to the level of Power Strike?
We didn't quite catch that. We beat up that wolf and let it go, and we meet these wolf pups and talk with them and then leave. So by brutalizing that wolf out front and then scaring those wolf pups half to death and then leaving, we are helping to make friends with the wolves. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go with that. Okay, these wolves are having a feast, but we don't really want to bother them, so we just say, that's nice, goodbye. And they say, why are you leaving? And we say, we're leaving out of honor. And they say, we accept that you are leaving out of honor. This is helping to make friends with the wolves. Next thing we want to do is make friends with the space elves. So there are some space elves over here, just chilling out, having a good time. So we approach them and let them touch me. I assume in like a How to Train Your Dragon sort of way, with like Hiccup reaching out his hand and Toothless slowly moving his nose into Hiccup's outstretched hand. Our energy...
Probably not quite that picturesque, but generally, yes.
Oh. Our energy is getting a little bit low, so I'm going to use an ability called Consume Self that we get by reaching level 60 fire, or level 6 fire with 60 points. It allows me to do 50% damage to myself in order to restore approximately half energy. 50% energy. So that is something I'll be using quite a bit. We come over here where some more space elves are posing as trees, and we use fire on the tree because dragon, and there's a logic test inside, which I'm going to fail. And we do it again. And the answers are left, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, middle. I know it seems weird to have failed that logic test the first time, but it actually saves us 12 seconds in the whole speedrun. It like wastes 5 seconds up front, but saves 17 seconds later. And then we meet this space elf dragon who would like to do something with me that I don't think I can talk about, but that's okay. We ask, we need to know what you really are, and it turns out it's a hologram for space aliens, so there's space aliens in this dragon game. And we say, look, you can do what you want, but I need information about animals. So it gives us 50% knowledge on every animal, as well as this tarot card, which is also important. But all these icons flying over to the left side of the screen represents that knowledge on animals. And that's important because we need 50% knowledge of wolves in order to make friends with the wolves. And I like how they keep flying over even when you're back at your layer screen. It's really nice. So we are going to the last wolf event, where there's a lone wolf striking out on its own. And we say, that's nice, goodbye. And that's the lone wolf event. So the wolves come by and they say, it's really, Flare first. Hello, Flare. This is Flare, who is one of our Drac rivals who would like to claim our territory, but we just burned down a tree, and after burning down a tree, Flare runs for the hills. He is having none of that. Our tree burning power is much more powerful than his. And that's Flare. All right, so the next night, now that Flare isn't here, the wolves come by, and say, it's really weird what you're doing. You keep coming close and then leaving, and we don't understand. And I say, I just love wolves, let's be friends. And they say, okay, we can be friends, but we have to fight first. So we're making friends with the wolves by fighting with them. And we use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. So now dragons and wolves are friends. And we get the Spirit Claw clan as a treasure, as well as this achievement, the moon. I did get all this accurate, right? With, like, making friends with the wolves by doing all this crazy stuff. Is that intentional, or...?
To see you, or that's nice, goodbye, is of considerable diplomatic use in the animal kingdom. The wolves want to know that you respect their territory. And that's the most important thing. And that's kind of the sense that I imbued in there.
All right. Okay, so we have done everything that we needed to do on the map. The only thing left to do is rest until reaching part 3, as well as dealing with our 2 remaining Drac rivals who would like to conquer my territory. So the next rival coming up is Bloom, who arrives with a bunch of animal friends. And we actually have some animal friends of our own, these wolves. So we challenged Bloom to a contest of song, and it turns out wolves are much better singers than Bloom's random barnyard collection. So we win that contest, no problem. And when Bloom arrives, I'm actually going to swap out a saved game from a backup because, as I mentioned, this has kind of gone off the rails and I need to reload. Okay, here is Bloom. I am going to swap out a save game real quick. Just 1 second here. Okay. And let me just make sure. Whoa, that's like way off. Okay. Boy, I've gone just real wrong here. Okay, what I'd suggest at this point is skipping ahead a little bit. My next save game is like 3 or 4 minutes from now, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really sorry about this. I misclicked and it just cascaded into something really horrible. So, okay, well, anyway, this is Bloom. He's got a chicken on his head, and ordinarily you would call in your wolves and challenge Bloom to a contest of song, and Bloom would just die of embarrassment on the spot because Bloom just can't take it. And there would be another Drac rival who there's like so much stuff I have to explain. This is really unfortunate that I'm missing all of this, but it's all right. Okay, kind of summarizing, we deal with another Drac rival named Whisper. It's kind of a sneaky, stealthy type, and making sure this is... So we reach part 3, and we are a big, beautiful dragon who looks like this, and Darktooth comes by and says, hey, while you were hibernating for the last time, these human things have become a little bit more of a problem. So in 20 days, all of Dragonkind is going to gather at the Grand Moot, and we are going to discuss what to do. So our character then says, okay, time to sleep for 20 days. I know we missed a little bit of a point there. There was some other funny things I wanted to do, but this isn't a valid run anymore, but we're just going to keep on trucking. All right, so with the position we are in now, after we have defeated our remaining Drac rivals, we've hibernated again. We're now in part 3. We're an adult dragon, and these humans are poaching from my forest and chopping down my trees and stuff. We are going to go to the Grand Moot and decide what ending we want to take. There are 3 main elders who speak at the ending. They represent Survival, who is which is encouraged by Many Times Burned, Wisdom by Darktooth, and Compassion by Allmother. We're going to just talk about Wisdom for the moment. So the main problem that Dragonkind is having is that humans are becoming more numerous. It's the Bronze Age, they're making weapons out of bronze. This is becoming very dangerous. Whenever humans and dragons clash, it is the dragons getting the worst end of the deal, and this is completely unsustainable. So Darktooth says, look, I have determined, I've seen the future, and humans are going to take over everything, and dragons are going to be extinct. We cannot change this. There's no way to change this. But there is one thing we can do, we can leave. We can build a spaceship. I know another habitable planet out there in the stars. We can take the best and brightest of Dragonkind and just pack up and leave. And that's my plan. So by completing the great lesson, this life, we have gained a lot of favor with Darktooth in order to get into his ending pretty much for free. There are some other ways into it. Oh boy, this is one of my old save games. This is fine. We're kidnapped by aliens and shown these weird pictures.
Did you
hate it when that
sell the
happens.
silver fruit to Darktooth?
We never got it. This is one of my old save games. But anyway, we're captured by space aliens and experimented on. And that's okay. This has gone so badly off the rails. It's alright though. If you want to see how this is supposed to go, then look up my 1 hour 13 run on YouTube. Would you like to add anything to the Wisdom ending, Ludwig?
Running away is popular as it is in nature for a very good reason.
Well, yeah, it ultimately helps you survive. That Dragonkind is going to go on living and existing and surviving elsewhere on another planet, even though they're no longer on Earth.
And that's the basis for Hierophant.
Alright, so we are almost to the Grand Moot. We automatically run on over there.
Rachel drew that mayfly and that spider so nicely.
I noticed if you look up mayfly on Google, there's a photograph of almost the exact same thing.
She represented it expertly.
It is true. I do agree with that.
Her Sam, she definitely did the spider in Act 1, which was so real I thought it was a photograph when she showed me.
Okay, for making it from our egg to the ending sequence here in one continuous life, we get the Chariot Tarot card. Very important part of speedrunning to make sure we grab that one. And the three elders over here speak. Darktooth on the left, Many Times Burned in the center, Allmother on the right. And they sort of give a very long speech that we skip over entirely. And because we already know we're going to do Wisdom. And because this is an old save game, Many Times Burned threatens us, and it takes an additional like 15 seconds here to skip past all this. And Darktooth saved us, and we get to go to another planet after all. If my first run had gone correctly and my reputation was low, then MTB would just be like, good, I don't care, get out of here. And that would skip over a lot of that additional text. So here we are on another planet, and hopefully things will be a little bit better here. And that is the Wisdom ending.
So was that time?
No, we are going for the secret ending.
Oh.
We're getting all the tarot cards. All of them.
To get all of the tarot cards, you have to complete the game at least 3 times.
Wow.
Indeed. Okay, let's see, I gotta count this. 3. Okay, next we are doing the Compassion ending, and for that we need to max out our water and then get 50 fire so that we can use the Crystal Fang to get 60 fire for Consume Self so we don't starve to death. So we're taking the Crystal Fang. You get to inherit items from any previous parts where you found them. And so this is Darktooth coming by, talking about the problem and the moot. And we say, that's nice, goodbye. Alright, so in this run, in this restart of part 3, we are going to use the Crystal Fang, and Allmother is going to invite us to its trial based on compassion. I also want to make sure to consume self before we go, so here's Allmother in a vision. We are going to consume self, and then go. So we come over here to meet Allmother's envoy, Rybean Question, who is quite the silver fox. And Allmother would like for us to live life as an ant. Now, up to this point, we've been living life as a dragon, where we are huge and solitary and do whatever we want and eat whatever we want, and ants are pretty much the complete opposite. So now we're an ant. And we move up and we meet the queen. She says hi. We're best friends now. We move eggs to safety, otherwise the sequence does not end. And we move up in, and what we need to do here is we need to find food, water, and aphids for the hive. You always want to go for the water and the aphids first, because completing those teleports you back to the hive. Finding the food does not. Now, Ludwig, why is it that when you find the food, it does not automatically teleport you back to the hive?
I simply neglected to put it that way, I'm sure, in the documents somehow.
Well, alright. Okay,
I would consider that a bug.
Alright. Well, there are a lot of bugs in this section.
I thought we ironed some of those out with the time of creation release.
No, I mean, like, there's bugs. Ants and ant lions, so now we're this group of ants fighting an ant lion. This is all perfectly normal. I'm sure we've all done this at least once or twice. I thought this game was about dragons. Why are we ants now?
To experience the perfect opposite, just as you say.
Oh. Alright. Okay, so we found some water, so now we're finding some aphids. This is a labyrinth and there are random encounters down here, so here's a random encounter. Once again, getting the caterpillar. The game just hates me lately. On all of my recent speedruns, I've gotten the caterpillar at least once. The caterpillar is not nice because it does have more health and it takes 3 rounds to kill it, and it does hurt you a bit. It's speedrun safe, that's not a concern, but it just costs you seconds for no real reason. I have tested and double caterpillar is still safe. So. Alright, so we find the aphids, and they are being attacked by this evil, evil ladybug. And we decide to fight the evil, evil ladybug. And we use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. So we have rescued the aphids from certain doom. And Rybean Question continues to tell us a little bit of a story about how Allmother got its philosophy. It has something to do with this rabbit and this fox, and Allmother is like, guys, stop eating each other. Be nice. So they did.
Oh, it's not that simple.
Okay, but I only have a limited time to talk about it.
Okay, understood.
There's a lot of like weird stuff to see if you go onto the side paths. It's all neat. I mean, weird in a good way. This entire section is kind of weird, but there's other stuff that will just kill you. Like there's a spider, there's a poison berry. But if you know exactly where you're going, then it's pretty much fine. So we meet this evil, evil praying mantis who makes this sharp sword on sword, metal on metal sound, which I think is absolutely amazing. So we gather a lot of friends to fight this evil, evil mantis and use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. So we are now going to eat this dead jerk bird over here. And that was the food, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we are attacked by a giant squirrel. So now we are an ant fighting a giant squirrel. This is all perfectly normal.
That bird wasn't a jerk, just for the record. That was just a sparrow. In this instance, not an even fight.
I don't know. It seems like a lot of the birds in this game are kind of jerks.
I take offense to that.
All right, it's only the
Because I am-
magpies.
Because I am a bird.
I would dispute that they are negatively portrayed in this. I think that I was true to their character as much as I could be.
Okay, you guys win. It's only the magpies that are troublesome. The one who
The
makes fun of
swans
us.
are pretty big jerks if you read their thing. They're the biggest jerks. But besides swans and magpies, yes, everyone else is cool.
Okay, I agree with that.
I mean, I would argue that geese are the biggest jerks.
Right, and that's essentially what we're going for there.
Alright, so by completing that trial, we met Allmother, and Allmother told us a little bit more about its philosophy of compassion. Basically, it believes that all life is equal, whether human, or dragon, or fox, or rabbit, or ant, or anything else, all is equal to Allmother. And that is the basis of compassion. So, its plan for dealing with the human issue is that Allmother says, look, I don't believe in fighting, and I also don't believe in running away. I can't support leaving Earth and going to another planet, and I'm a pacifist, so I'm not going to fight or kill anything. So here's what I propose. Let's sacrifice ourselves and place our souls among humanity to guide them and to peace and prosperity and harmony with Earth. That really Earth is the most important thing. Earth's survival. And more than that, what does it matter what we look like? We are dragons in soul, so even though we won't look like dragons anymore, we'll still keep on existing in some form, and we'll protect Earth. So, like, what's the problem? And Many Times Burned sees that as surrender. MTB just hates that idea. And Darktooth says that this has been tried before in the past with experimentation, and pretty much nobody is even able to do this. That Allmother, as a millennia-old elder among dragons, might be able to pull it off. Maybe. But Allmother is suggesting that everybody do this, and for most of them, it'll probably just end up with them dying for nothing. So it's this big leap of faith of a compassionate pacifist who is doing what everybody else believes is unthinkable. Do you have anything you would like to add to that, Ludwig?
Well, I'm sorry, that whole thing was just a gigantic cliche. I know you've heard that same story many times before. Everyone and all of its twists and turns. No, but seriously, I think you really nailed this. You really understand the soul of the game. I'm very impressed.
Well, you know, even if it is cliche at all, and I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think it's just really well written that reading like what Allmother has to say and the sort of heartfelt emotion behind it is really well done. And cliche or not, it's just really well written and kind of tugs at you. So I make this fun. I try to make this fun. I'm going super fast. I'm kind of summarizing these things in a silly way. But if we were to be able to stop and read the text, it's a little bit of a different message. So we're back at the moot, back where the three elders are giving their speech. We choose compassion. And MTB is absolutely outraged and orders us executed on the spot. So we die. We're dead now. But our soul is okay. So we do this water check because we have 100 water. And now we are reborn as humans in the modern world. The end. Okay. That is the compassion ending. And down here, this text will read, this reduces your energy lost by the passage of time. And in this version, the old version, this is bugged to not allow you to starve to death. So not only are we not reliant on hunting grounds, and not only are we not reliant on events for food, we are no longer even reliant on consumed self. We cannot starve. And next we are doing the survival ending, so there is some combat involved in this, so we need plenty of earth and plenty of fire. Fire for strength, earth for durability. And then we want to take the Crystal Fang and the Bloodstone. And what we do first is we use the Crystal Fang to get 10 to each stat is 10 to each stat in part 3, 8 to each stat in part 2, or 5 to each stat in part 1. So right now we have a pretty huge amount of fire and earth, and many times burned in a vision invites us to its trial. And next we are going to use the Bloodstone. The Bloodstone gives us a temporary boost for 1 day to our fire, as well as a flat damage bonus. So it makes us pretty much as strong as we could possibly be with our basic attacks.
That was by design. I use that tactic too.
Yeah, because it's all in the same day, so
Right.
might as well. So we come here and we...
Just definitely the best use of that item.
Absolutely. So we meet MTB's Envoy, Never Ever, and we are going to fight a series of battles here, starting with the snake, who would like to become a dragon. I don't think it's going to achieve its goal, because actually half of its combat moves are bugged. It always goes down to 1 Power Strike, because Power Strike is overpowered. Now, you know we've been eating some things along the way because Dragon, well, if you've ever played the game Choice of the Dragon, then you know that one of your stats is Disdain, which is your stat about not caring about things. So from now on, we're going to pass things by because Dragon. So these are definitely jerk birds. These are absolutely jerk birds. Because they're trying to fight me 2-on-1. That's not fair. They're outnumbering me. So we beat them up and pass them by because Dragon. And then there's this bear called Agony. I still don't know why he's here. That's one thing I haven't figured out.
No? There was a backstory to it.
I'm having a hard time understanding it, but that's okay. We beat him up and pass him by because Dragon. And there's this Neanderthal guy called Last. He is the last of his people because the humans killed the rest of his kind, so he would like MTB to repopulate his people.
I wanted definitely a sheep.
And we beat him up and pass him by because Dragon. And the final opponent is not many times burned, but rather it is his Envoy, Never Ever, who messes with your combat interface by reversing it and flipping it upside down and inverting the colors. And we beat him up and pass him by because Dragon, and MTB says stop and talks about what he's seen in the future, that everything is kind of polluted and covered with concrete. He calls it the gray future. So MTB is pretty sad about all that. And if you haven't guessed by this point, MTB's plan is to kill all humans now before they become any more of a problem than they already have been. So he says, at the moot, he says, look, what's been going on up to this point is that battles between dragons and humans are very one-off. There's always a band of humans against one dragon because dragons live alone, and that keeps ending poorly for the dragon. So he says, here's my proposal. Let's all band together as one single, gigantic, unstoppable force and declare total war on humankind, fight them, kill them non-stop, single-minded, and I believe, I have hope that we can change this fate and this destiny that we've all foreseen, that this fate that we agree is a true destiny doesn't have to happen, but only if we take extreme measures. So it's easy to say, oh, well, that's like xenocide or genocide, that's evil. And yeah, it kind of is, but it's also a defiance of fate, that MTB is a believer of no fate but what we make, that there is no such thing as fate, but if you want to avoid a really bad outcome sometimes, you need to take extreme measures. And that's what it is. Also in the context that in this setting, humans are essentially alien invaders from space. So what would you do if there were alien invaders from space threatening you with extinction? It's kind of MTB's position here. it's a very straightforward path, and it's even painted as a little bit bittersweet. That it's kind of a not really the best solution, just kind of the solution of last resort.
I thought that it wasn't such a terrible solution. How
I
many species would have been saved if that plan had worked?
Well, I agree in one sense, but I felt like what we see later in the secret ending, the Spirit of Rage,
Yes.
kind of speaks out against. I thought it was kind of speaking out against that ending, saying that isn't really what you want.
Yes, and it's as you correctly pointed out, there are several viewpoints one can have on this.
Yeah. So in summary, all three of the elders have a point, and all three of the elders kind of think that the others are a little bit crazy. That nobody's really perfect here. These are three very, very imperfect endings.
C'est la vie.
It's true. Alright, that was the Sunfly just a couple of days ago, and we are coming up on the moot once more. Now, in the survival ending, you are always able to get into the survival ending. It doesn't matter what your favor with MTB is. But you are confronted with a series of combats, and either you fight them hand-to-hand, or you are able to skip them through one of a few different methods. The method we are using is to use our 100 points of fire that we have, level 10 fire mastery, to skip the combat.
We call that the Trogdor ending.
Sounds about right. So we come to this village that is apparently, this one village is the difference between extinction of dragonkind and extinction of humankind. So by destroying this one village, everything's going to be alright, and dragonkind will survive. That was easy.
Oh, come now. Every dragon across the earth is hunting at the same time. They've all got their villages.
Alright. Well, everything is nice and peaceful, and dragons will survive, and that is the survival ending. Alright, now we are to the fourth run, the secret ending, and we have several things to do, several more tarot cards to get, but it is action-packed from this point onward. No more resting our days away. We are now acting. So we have to assign all of our stats. I've got a little trick to it. We go clockwise, starting with Earth. And we do want to rotate between them because every time you reach a milestone of 10, there's a small delay. If you just stuck with one element at a time, that would easily waste like 20 to 30 seconds, just because of the delay that you can't add any more points for 2 or 3 seconds there. And once we're full, we -2 fire, +1 water, rest into air, and then we want these items. That is correct. We're going to use all of those items, and there is much to do, so let's get to it. First order of business is to use the Crystal Fang for 10 to each stat. Very useful, very important item for speedrunning.
Or for a dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very powerful item, whatever you're doing, whether casual or speedrunning or anything else. We do get invited to the trials again. We are not going to do the trials again. The first thing we do is we go to this hut up here where there are some nice dogs standing guard. And we just say, that's nice, goodbye. We pass them by because dragon. That may not seem like it did very much, but it opened up a couple more icons on the map, which are very important. Next we go to this event where there are some sheep, and we go and talk with the sheep, and we have to answer no to their question. I have lost a run to this before. I accidentally said yes. But we are good. And we ask the third question each time because it is giving us human knowledge. We need quite a bit of human knowledge in order to enter a certain building a little bit later on. And that is the sheep event. Next, we are going to a burial scene where some humans are engaging in a funeral. So here they are. And then we say, that's nice. We're just passing by because dragon. Now, of course, in many of these events, you can bust in and start killing things and stealing treasure and stuff, but that takes a long time. We are speedrunning here. Next, we are going down to Tempest territory. We are now old enough to challenge Tempest for some of its land. So we come over here and announce our challenge publicly, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tempest tackles us in midair. And we have a little tussle in midair here, where we use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. And we land in the water. And continue fighting down here. And Tempest very unwisely opens with 2 arrow moves, so we just use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. And we sing a song of pure desire for the land, and Tempest realizes that we really, really want this land. And it says, fine, you can have it. Gosh, what is your deal? So we get the land as well as this tarot card. The next thing we're going to do is go over to our other dragon neighbor we did not meet yet. Its name is Vantage. Vantage is a red dragon. It is hiding underground. So we come over to the land and we announce our challenge publicly as we're supposed to, and Vantage doesn't come out. Instead, we meet this jerkbird. And this is a magpie, so it definitely is a jerkbird.
Yes, indeed.
And the magpie says, Vantage is hiding underground. You need to go down there. We say, fine, whatever. And it's very dark, we can't really see anything, but we find this outline of a skeleton, so we run away, and that makes us go forward. And we meet what are apparently some dwarves, who give us this spheroid if we promise to kill Vantage. This is a bad idea because the spheroid will explode, but it is slightly faster to take it. And we come to this maze, where we select the red options because Vantage is a red dragon, if you were paying attention. And we find these dead animals that are definitely not diseased, and we pass them by because dragon. So Vantage is here and says, aha, that thing, it explodes. We say, aha, what a surprise. So we have a little tussle with Vantage here, and we just use Power Strike because Power Strike is overpowered. And Vantage is a little sad that it set all these traps and still lost. So it asks if it was right for it to use traps or not, even though dragons are always supposed to fight head on. You can say yes or no. It's a nice little choose your own adventure moment. I think it's pretty well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really liked it. I like the different answers you could give, and I thought it was a really nice moment. Okay, so we got the tarot card as well as unlocked this Dwarven trading post over here, so we're going to go trade back the Shake Stick and the False Face, which are Dwarven items, so the dwarves are very happy to see those back. They will pay us a very high price for those. I believe we get 350 shiny things for that, which is a pretty enormous amount. And we will unfortunately not be able to keep those. We have to give them away, like, almost immediately. So, no dragon hordes for us. We come over here to this hut that belongs to a man called the Artist. But there is no artist here, there's only a cat and a bird up in the corner. So we say, that's nice, goodbye. We pass them by because dragon. If the artist is not in right now, then we will be back later. So we go back the next day, and we find this old man, and we show him the amber circle with the implication that this old man is the child that we ate alive and stole the necklace a little bit earlier. That he says, I remember you, you were so young, and I was so young, and now you are beautiful, and I'm all old. And he's still here, even if you kind of took that option. Ludwig, can you explain to me why this guy is still here, even if you were doing one continuous life and ate that child alive?
Yes, I understand. That's something that we decided there was a very low chance of actually happening, when the people would spend so long between Act 1 and Act 3 that, it would seem so immediate. But I didn't want the real answer is I didn't want people to not be able to pursue that tarot card in Act 3, pretty much no matter what they did back in Act 1. I didn't want to punish that action in Act 1, and I didn't want to bar it for people. That's the answer.
I agree with that, because I reported that in the Steam forums, and actually had the same thought, that I would be a little bit sad if it was changed, because I wouldn't want to lose this guy just because you took that option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, what the artist says is he is working on a special treasure, but he requires 3 special stones in order to complete his work. We were able to find the Bezoar, which is one of the stones that he wants. We were not able to find the other 2. They're sort of hidden in other various corners. But he does accept 150 shiny things for each missing stone. So we have now delivered the Bezoar as well as 300 shiny things to him. And we come back the next day, and he says, I'm almost done, but I tell you what, I would like to be friends with a dragon. Will you be friends with me? And we say yes, that's a nice thing to do. Humans and dragons ought to be friends. So we are best friends now? We're just making friends with everybody. Bats, nature spirits, wolves, everybody. So we're going back to visit our best friend and find that unfortunately he has been murdered. He is lying on the floor dead. But he did finish his treasure in time, the elixir, so we grab the elixir and give the artist a proper Drac-style funeral, which earns us this achievement, the Magician. Unfortunately, the bird died too. The cat...
bird was old.
It was old. The cat ran away, so...
A surprisingly successful strategy, as usual.
Alright, so we use the elixir to get to 100 in each stat, which is one of the requirements for the secret ending. The last requirement is the 20th tarot card, which we are going to go collect right now. We come over to this village, which may look a little bit familiar. It's the village that we destroyed in the survival ending. Well, this time we are going to sneak in quietly, using the second option to sneak in, and then the second option to sneak in. And we find this room full of wood carvings and torches and stuff, and we say, that's nice. Pass it by because dragon. And we turn around and we see, there's a dragon head mounted on the wall. This is Warden. It was one of our Drac neighbors in part 2. Unfortunately, it was slain between parts 2 and 3. We hardly knew ya. Alright, that is tarot card number 20. So the Dreaming Door now appears to us because we have 100 in each stat. We are about 1 minute out from time. So this ending here is what I would call the convert to Buddhism and achieve Nirvana ending. And you might say, wait, that's kind of strange. Like, up to this point, we've been a dragon who is huge and awesome, and we eat whatever we want, and we do whatever we want. And that's right. This is sort of a rejection of all that. There's a lot of foreshadowing spread throughout the game that there's a little bit more to the world and a little bit more to the universe than what you were originally told. At the very start of the game, you were told that you are this sacred beast, this great creature who is destined for greatness. And we are giving up all of that. We're giving up being a dragon, and we are going to achieve Nirvana instead. We do have to enter these numbers as well. This is player knowledge, however, not character knowledge. So these are also hidden in various corners of the game, but if you know them, then you know them. And we don't have to spend any speedrun time finding them.
I couldn't resist putting a little meta puzzle in there.
The only part I didn't like was the last one, which is in a non-guaranteed combat.
True. When we were playtesting it, we pretty much weren't always getting those. We figured it was okay.
Alright. Well, we meet these 3 spirits who want us to not enter the door, but we just pass them by because dragon. And then the dragon character who represents Ego speaks to us, and he says, I don't want to achieve Nirvana, I want to still be an individual. And I say, no, I want to become one with the universe. He says, fine, whatever. And he passes us by because dragon. So now we get another egg cracking animation, which symbolizes our hatching to another layer of reality. Time is coming up in about like 10 seconds-ish. And time.
Good game.
Thank you. Nirvana has been achieved.
Congratulations. I really didn't think that it was possible to complete the game this quickly. It kind of boggles my mind. How long would you say the game usually would take for somebody, would you guess?
I'd say about 2 hours to complete it for the first time. And then
But to get to the ending that you
the secret ending without any help, I would say could take anywhere from 8 to 10 hours.
really.
Yeah, I'd say it took me about. I may not be the best example because I played through the game entirely like twice before really starting on the secret ending, but some things really had me stumped, and it was about the 10-hour mark by the time I finally reached it without any help.
Okay. I suppose I can live with that.
Yeah. So that is Golden Treasure: The Great Green secret ending speedrun. This time came in a little bit under normal because I did have to load a backup save. My normal best time is about 1 hour 13 minutes and some change. This is not a valid run, so I see on my other screen it says 1:12:24 there. I'm afraid that is not valid. That is not actually a PB. But I really enjoyed doing this. Thank you so much for having me. Do you have any last words, Ludwig?
No, but again, it was my honor. Thank you for diving into my art this completely.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you everybody for watching, and thanks for having me. But that's all.
Yeah, thank you both for coming and submitting this run. Thank you for the developers making time to come over and give some insight on how this game was made, obviously, and being blown away by Hybrid. Hopefully you'll get on a Devs React speedrun for IGN. But yeah, thank you so much. We're going to transition over to our one last donation before we go. Bagel Addict coming in real quick. $15.27 because dragon.
Excellent.
All right, we're going to transition for real now, and we're going to set up for the very last run. We're at $1,800 exactly before starting Super Metroid and the Save Kill Bid War. The Save Kill Bid War is going hot.